Imagine waking up tomorrow, and every pipe in your home has disappeared. Every drain, every faucet, every bar of soap, every roll of toilet paper, gone. Not broken, never invented. Now imagine that everyone around you believes water is poison, that a hot bath doesn't clean you, it kills you, that the layer of filth on your skin isn't dirt. It's the only thing keeping you alive. This is medieval England, and the people who lived here weren't stupid. They were survivors playing by rules that would make your skin crawl. 14th century. A cold English morning. Somewhere in London, a man wakes up on a straw mattress that smells of mildew and last week's sweat. He doesn't walk to a bathroom because bathrooms don't exist. He reaches for a strip of rough cloth, dips it into a bowl of water so cold it bites his knuckles, drags it across his face, his hands. Done. That's the bath. That is every drop of water his skin will touch today, maybe this week. And he doesn't feel dirty. He feels protected. Because every doctor in England has told him the same thing. Water opens the pores, and open pores are open doors. Doors through which miasma, the invisible poisoned air, can enter your blood and rot you from the inside. A warm bath isn't hygiene, it's suicide. So the filth on your skin isn't neglect. It's armor. You don't scrub it off. You build it up, layer after layer, week after week. A medieval physician would look at your morning shower and call it self-harm. But if water is the enemy, fabric is the weapon. The upper classes have figured out something extraordinary. They believe white linen has an almost magical power. Press it against the skin and it pulls the toxins out. It absorbs the corruption. It cleans the body without a single drop of water touching flesh. A nobleman changes his linen undershirt 3 or 4 times a day. Each time he believes he has bathed. His skin hasn't seen soap in months, but his collar is blinding white. And that white collar is everything. It's not fashion, it's a billboard. It screams to the world that this man is wealthy enough to be clean without ever getting wet. The dirtier the body, the whiter the shirt. This paradox defines an entire civilization. Now, open your mouth and things get worse. There is no toothbrush, there is no paste. You take a strip of linen and dip it into a mixture of ground salt, crushed bone, and dried herbs. You grind this against your teeth until your gums bleed and your mouth tastes like iron. It removes some staining. It also strips the enamel right off. When a tooth starts to rot, the diagnosis is creative and horrifying. A worm, a tiny creature gnawing at the root. The cure is a pair of iron pliers in the hands of a barber. The same man who cuts your hair will grip the blackened molar and wrench it from your jaw. No numbing, no anesthetic, just a leather strap to bite and a scream that echoes down the street. A full set of teeth past 30 is a miracle. For everyone else, the mouth is a gallery of missing pieces. People learn to laugh with their lips closed. They speak through barely parted teeth. Every gap is a souvenir from an afternoon of agony. And floating above all of this is the perfume. Not the subtle fragrances, you know. These are aggressive, almost violent scents designed to wage war against biology. Rosewater poured down the collar, cloves pressed into a metal ball and held under the nose, lavender stuffed into every pocket. These aren't luxuries, they're survival tools. Because the smell of a room full of people who haven't bathed in weeks but have changed their shirts 6 times today is not something you can simply ignore. The perfume doesn't eliminate it. It sits on top of it. Roses and rot competing in every breath. Fragrance is always losing. But personal filth is a private battle. What waits outside the front door is a public catastrophe. Step into the streets of medieval London and you step into a world where sanitation infrastructure simply does not exist. No sewers, no drains, no garbage collection, nothing. Start at the top, the castle. The medieval toilet is called a garderobe. It translates to wardrobe. It's a stone bench with a hole jutting out from the castle wall over the moat or a pit far below. No flush, no water. Gravity does all the work. In summer, the updraft from the pile below is so powerful it waters your eyes from across the room. But here's the genius. Noblemen hang their finest robes inside this toilet chamber, deliberately. Because the ammonia rising from decomposing waste kills the fleas and moths eating through the fabric. The toilet is a fumigation chamber, a medieval dry cleaner powered by human waste. It is disgusting. It is brilliant. It is medieval life in a single image. Now come down from the castle into the city streets. London produces more filth than any system can remove. The streets aren't paved. They're packed earth churned into permanent mud that isn't entirely mud. Kitchen scraps thrown from windows. The contents of chamber pots hurled into the lane with a shouted warning that arrives too late. Horse dung, pig dung, dog dung, butcher's offal, tanner's runoff. And underneath it all the seeping overflow of cesspits that were full months ago. You don't walk through a medieval street. You wade. The wooden platforms strapped to the bottom of shoes aren't fashion. They're the difference between stepping in filth and drowning in it. And when the cesspits overflow completely, the city turns to its most desperate workers, the Gong Farmers. Men required by law to work only at night, so that polite society never has to see what they do. Their job is simple and nightmarish. They climb down into cesspits that can be 15 feet deep. They stand waist deep in waste that has been fermenting for months. They shovel it out by hand, bucket by bucket, in total darkness. The gases in these pits, methane and hydrogen sulfide, can reach concentrations that kill a man between one breath and the next. A gong farmer who inhales at the wrong moment collapses face first into the sewage and drowns in the waste of the people he was trying to save. It is one of the most dangerous jobs in England. It is also one of the best paid, because no amount of money truly compensates for this. But the city will pay anything to avoid doing it themselves. Above ground, pigs roam the streets. Semi-feral animals that serve as living garbage disposals, eating the organic refuse that would otherwise rot in place. They're effective. They also leave behind their own waste. They knock over market stalls and occasionally kill unattended infants. A medieval pig is simultaneously a sanitation worker and a public menace. The city can't function without them. The city can't control them. Another paradox in a world built entirely on paradoxes. And now the question nobody wants answered. Without toilet paper, what happens after? For the rich, scraps of wool or soft linen, used and collected by servants who drew the shortest straw in the household lottery and laundered for reuse. For everyone else, whatever is within arm's reach. Moss pulled from stone walls. Broad leaves chosen for surface area. Hay and straw as a last resort. A scratching, painful experience that solves one problem while creating others. The Romans had a sponge on a stick shared communally in public latrines. Even that modest technology has been lost. And this is where the real cost reveals itself. Not in discomfort, but in invisible consequences. Hands aren't washed. Not truly. Food is prepared by hands carrying traces of contamination. Water sources sit downstream from dumping sites. And so the medieval body becomes a vessel for parasites. Intestinal worms aren't a disease of the unlucky few. They are a universal condition. Roundworm, tapeworm, hookworm, living coiled inside nearly every adult in England. From the bishop to the ploughman, consuming a portion of every meal. A silent biological tax on a population already starving, causing fatigue so universal it isn't recognized as illness. It's just what life feels like. But here is where the story must turn. Because to look at these people and see only filth is the worst kind of arrogance. These people are not weak. They are forged. Their immune systems have been hammered by a lifetime of exposure that would hospitalize a modern human within days. They carry bacterial loads that would send you into shock, and they carry them while building cathedrals, raising families, writing poetry, and waging wars. They fight back with every weapon they have. Vinegar is disinfectant. Herbal poultices on wounds. Ale instead of water because brewing kills what raw water cannot. Garlic, consumed in staggering quantities because folk medicine correctly identified its antibacterial power centuries before science could explain why. These aren't ignorant people making ignorant choices. These are brilliant minds solving impossible problems with limited tools. So when you look back at medieval England, don't just see the filth. See the gong farmer descending into darkness because the city above needs to survive another night. See the mother scrubbing her child's face with cold water because that is the best she can give. See the Lord changing his shirt because he truly believes it is saving his life. This is not the absence of hygiene. This is hygiene in its most raw and desperate form. They didn't have our technology. They didn't have our knowledge, but they woke up every morning in a world that smelled of death, wiped their faces, straightened their collars, and walked out the door. That is not ignorance. That is the reason you exist today.